Hi. So first of all, we're going to make sure that our Mac is going to be running Python code and we have a proper software that we can work and learn how to write Python code. In order to do that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the internet and download some program called Anaconda. Okay, so just go to Google or another search engine and write Anaconda. Okay, so what you want to go is actually anaconda.com. It's pretty simple, but it will be the first result of Google anyway. So I want to go to Anaconda and I want to go to the download section. So this general outlay, general pictures may change in time, but every time you can find a download section. So just say download now and it will lead you the download website. So under here, make sure the Mac OS is chosen for you, and you have two options in here, which is one Python 3 and Python 2. Of course, we're going to go with Python 3 since it is the current version. And don't worry about the 3.7, 3.8 or 9. As long as it's Python 3, it's okay to download. So choose the Python 3.7 and start downloading. Of course, I did that before. I already downloaded it in order not to make you wait. So I'm going to cancel this and open my downloads, and feel free to pause the video and meet me afterwards. It's done. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to find this downloaded package in here, and let me just make it into the desktop so you can see it better. Just double click on it and it will pop open a installer for me, and we'll say continue, and this is a classical installer where you just click continue and install, okay, and accept the license and everything, say agree, and finally click install. If it asks a permission, of course give it via fingerprint or typing your password. It will take some time to install all the packages, all the libraries and stuff. So feel free to pause the video again and meet me after it's finished. So it's finished for me, and it asks if I want to install the Visual Studio. I don't need it at this point, so I'm going to say skip it. And it says installation failed, but this is because I have already installed it on my computer. So I'm going to say finish. Don't worry, yours will be just fine. And after that, I don't need this package anymore, but let me check if Anaconda is installed. So I'm going to Launchpad and try to find Anaconda, but if you cannot find it, just hit space and command on your keyboard, which brings the search bar, and you can just type Anaconda Navigator in here. And if you double click it, it will pop open the Anaconda for you. And if you're opening it for the first time, it may just take some time to initialize, and now we can move this to trash since we don't need this anymore. So here it is. Let me make this into a full screen, and you see there are a lot of widgets in here, but what we are interested in is actually this Jupyter notebook. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna click launch in here, which will bring a terminal and opens a Safari or a browser, and it just runs this on a local host. This is not connected to internet, don't worry. You can just reach it from your browser, and you can see the files and folders in here. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. So there are actually files and folders in here, so you can browse it as if it is your own computer, but we don't have any notebooks right now. So if we had, we would have then clicked on it and just open it. But since we don't have this, I'm going to say new from here and choose a Python notebook. So this is our first Python notebook. Let me zoom in again so you can see it better. Okay. Now these lines here are called cells, and we write our Python codes in these lines. So make sure the code is selected from here, and we will see the other options later on. Let's write our first Python code. So as usual, we're going to print hello world. So if you just type print, it's a built-in function that lets you print something. So you have to open a quotation mark from your keyboard, whether it's single or double, it doesn't matter, and you have to write your string, your text inside this quotation marks, like hello world. After you write your code, if you just hit run, it will execute your code, it will run your code and show you the output of your code. So congratulations, you have just written your first Python code, which is hello world. So we managed to write it, and at this now let's see what else we can do within Jupyter Notebooks other than writing code. So if I choose Markdown from here, I can write notes to myself. So when you're listening, you can just take notes here, like note hello world program, for instance. Okay, and if you click run, it won't run any code because this isn't a code, this is just a comment, this is just a note. So let's write another code and say hello 2 this time and hit it. As you can see, it gives an output again. So at this point you may think to yourself, why are we writing this? Why are we seeing some outputs? Why are we writing print? And if you're dealing the programming for the first time, it is very normal for you to get confused. But this is how it works. We write something, the computer actually runs this code, executes this code, and show the output to us. And in Jupyter Notebooks, we see the output immediately, so we will use it when first we deal with the Python fundamentals, Python basics. So if you go to help here and click on keyboard shortcuts, you can see some very effective ways of shortcutting things, like shift enter. Instead of clicking run in here, let's write print James this time, and rather than clicking run, I will just press shift enter and it will execute the code for me as well. Let's do another example like print Lars, and this time I hit enter rather than shift enter. It will create a new line for me rather than executing the code. But I don't want that, I want a shift enter and it will execute and show the output for me. And suppose you're done with your notebook and you want to save the notebook. How do you do it? So you have this untitled here. Okay, so this is the title of your notebook. If you click on it, you may like hello world, you may say hello world in here or whatever you want, and just click the rename after it. So it changes the title of your notebook. And if you go to file from menu in here, you may choose save and checkpoint. It will save it for you. Of course, you can make copy or save as the file, and you may open another notebook from here, but make sure that you save and checkpoint your file before you close it. Now if I close it, I will see it in here. If I click on it, it will open again. But let's suppose I want to just take this hello world notebook from here and put it in another place. So let's try and find my hello world notebook. Okay, so it's already placed in my user folder. So what I'm going to do, I can just bring the search bar again by pressing Command and space and search for Hello World. It will show me where it's located, right? So let's go to my user folder by using Finder. Let's click on the Finder and let's go to my user folder where I will see the notebook. So what if I want to move this notebook to another folder, for instance? I can create a new folder from here and call it Python Notebooks, for example, in order to be tidy and neat, and move every notebook that I have created in that folder. If I do this, now it's located in here. Let's close this and go back to our browser. Now it's vanished from here, but we see some other folder which is Python Notebooks, and we see the Hello World from here. So this is how you close, save, and open the Python Notebooks. At any point, if you experience any problems, you may want to go here to kernel and interrupt it and then restart it, and it will solve the majority of the problems. And if it doesn't solve, of course you can always close everything together like Anaconda browser and open it again. So we're done here. Let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to learn the first Python codes.